And what's happening, y'all? Gene here, True Patriot Outfitters. Another edition of Let's Talk About It. Check it out. I'm going to put a group of boys on blast here today. This not only goes for this group, but any other group that happens to have a tendency to do the same things they do. Now, to make sure that I get my point across about what we're going to cover today on the topic, I'm not going to mention the name of this club at first. I'll mention it later. We'll talk about that later. But because I don't want that to get in the way of the point of what I got a beef about these guys and what is just wrong. What their actions, how it hurt our entire sport. And that is holding a tournament at a lake when you've been denied a permit to do so. Had a situation so yeah, might as well just go ahead. As you guys know, I'm not here to bash or argue or get into any of that stuff here, but I am very, very much concerned with the longevity of competitive fishing. We have a responsibility to protect our sport, to provide avenues for the next anglers coming up, because this thing that I fell in love with so much, and thousands upon thousands of other people have fallen in love with, you have part of your responsibility is to help see that sport grow, progress the way it should. And I know progress sometimes it means change, and sometimes change is hard. I get that, but we want this sport, competitive fishing, to be around for years to come. So all these kids that are coming up, these young boys, young girls that are coming up through high school teams, college teams, they need to have a platform that they too can have an opportunity to get out and compete in sport fishing. Well, part of doing that, what comes with that responsibility, is making sure your actions as an individual or as an organized group is not detrimental or damning to the overall reputation of others that do similar things to you, be it competitive anglers or competitive groups such as bass clubs. So here's the situation. Let me lay it out. Trinidad, a couple weekends ago. Trinidad is not a big body of water. She's about 2 miles long, half a mile, maybe a little bit more, whatever, wide. Not a big place, okay? Beautiful little fishery. Tons and tons of fish in that water. Multiple kinds of species. And a great place for a small-sized tournament to be held. So, our club, the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters, had to reschedule our event due to weather. Our tournament director followed all the state guidelines, followed all the procedures that we need to do. We were approved on our permit through CPW, which is Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Got everything set up for us for the following weekend, so we were set and ready to go. CPW knew we were going there. We had our anglers are ready to go. We had to work with them extensively. For those of us with kayaks with electric motors, we have to be ANS inspected. That's aquatic nuisance species. So we had to be inspected. They requested that on tournament day, we not only inspect before we go on the water, but also when we come off. All of the anglers with motors followed suit in this. We did what we had to do to make sure we're following the rules going through the process. Well, unbeknownst to us, until maybe a day before the tournament, or 2 days, somewhere in that ballpark, one of the bass clubs in the state down south had also, apparently after us, applied to have a bass boat tournament on Trinidad. CPW and the manager there confirmed this to us. They denied this club the permit because they pretty much knew we were going to be putting anywhere between 15 and 20 kayaks on the water, and they didn't want to double that up because this is a small body of water and you have to start concerning yourself with safety, effective, abilities to fish the thing. So this club was denied its permit. CPW said no. You cannot, you should not be hosting a tournament at this time. This club, or a group of individuals, some 13, 14 boats, decided to completely disregard the CPW and decided they were going to show up there as just a group of friends and go out and do their little deal. Bottom line is, look, let's just call this what it is, okay? You can say what you want to say. Bottom line is, they said, we don't care what the CPW says. We're going to have our little tournament here. And so a group of them all came down and added to the mix. So here we had 13, 14 kayaks running around out there, and 13, 14 bass boats all jumped in and held their tournament at the same time. And this is where my beef comes in with this. Bonehead move of the year. This complete disregard was noticed by the CPW. Okay? I can tell you firsthand that after the event, our event was concluded, they knew we were lines out at 2:30. My kayak is back at the launch area there, and I'm loading it up in my truck. One of the rangers comes down. He literally asks me, so how was it with the bass boats out there? We're pretty sure that they were here hosting a tournament for this whole thing. And so, of course, as I'm sitting there, I'm not going to sit here and create, some falsehood or damage my reputation. So I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, they're hosting a tournament here. There's no question. At the hotel I was staying at, there were like 6 boats all parked there. And trust me, take it from a guy who's done the local and regional scene on boat tournament. This was a tournament they held with a weigh-in even at the main ramp. The complete arrogance of them just to come back through and do a weigh-in even after they were told not to do so. So the Rangers were aware of this and not very pleased with this whole ordeal because, number one, you are not following the directions of the Colorado Parks and Wildlife. This organization, I don't care what your opinions are of how they do their job or what they do. The bottom line is this group of men and women bust their tail to provide us with fisheries every year that we get to enjoy. They provide safety, they provide the logistics on these places, the maintenance, the upkeep. They try to keep these parks clean, they try to keep these lakes, safe for everybody. And they have to deal with, the worst of the worst that comes out of this place, of people from just having no experience with water-based activities, to those people who just don't care about rules and decide to go out and get drunk or running around. Trust me, dude, with the amount of people that are visiting our lakes and parks out here in Colorado, the CPW busts its butt, and they work hard. Could they use some help out there? Do they always get it right? Yes, they could use some help. No, they don't always get it right. But it's not because they don't care. They do care. People that are there working their tail off to do the best they can. We, as citizens of the state, at least owe them the common courtesy to follow the rules. Right? Now go one step further. You're an organized, competitive fishery involved with bass, the industry's longest running Bass Anglers Sportsman Society. That's what BASS stands for. You're a organized, sanctioned club for bass, and you go out there knowingly violating the set of rules that were put in place, completely ignoring the fact that you were denied a competitive permit. You decide to go ahead and do it anyway. Dude, like I said, bonehead move, whoever that group was of guys. I don't know if the club sanctioned this or if they just decided to turn their head and not pay attention. Something should come from this, because here's what comes out of this. Now especially this group down there at Trinidad of CPW, are aware that some clubs just don't care. Therefore, they have to make sure that all clubs operate. So you just damaged every sanctioned competitive club out there by giving them the reputation that you're creating by your ignorant, arrogant, bonehead move. Okay? Flat out. To boot, anglers in general, bass anglers specifically, carry with now this reputation thought piece that we could be a part of that same group, or who's to say we're not just like those group of guys that come in there and did what they did. Now, I could sit here and tell you about the one idiot in his little Triton boat that he was running around out there that cut off about 4 of us from fishing lanes. I could tell you about him, but that's not even worth it. Unfortunately, that's not uncommon, that in a group of anglers, out of every 10, you're going to find one or whatever that just doesn't, he doesn't concern himself, with anybody else out on the water. And there is a deal of, not all bass anglers, boat guys are this way at all. Many of the boat guys are some of the best stewards and ambassadors of our sport that you're going to find, and I know many of them. But it is also said to be true that there is this, with some group of these individuals who have, I don't know, low self-esteem or whatever their deal is, they look at kayak anglers as lesser anglers, apparently, on the water. I'd personally just love to get them out there, from a guy who came from boat into kayak, come out for one day with me in a kayak. If you do think that a kayak competitive angler is lower on the food chain, come out for one day. We'll see what you think. But at any rate, that is not, again, that's not uncommon. That's not so much even either the point of what I'm getting at here. The point stands at, that also does damage reputation, because now, obviously, when you have it done to you, now every boat that I see out there, is this going to be one of those guys? Is he going to, do the same thing? Is she going to do the same thing? Where they're going to cut me, And what I mean, for those of you that don't know what I mean by cutting, when you're fishing a shoreline and you're actively fishing, not passively. Passively means you're sitting in one place and you're just fishing an area. When you're actively fishing and moving down a shoreline, you can tell which way that angler's moving with their boat or kayak, whatever vessel they're using, obviously. Okay, look and watch them for a matter of 10 seconds, you'll see which way they're going. It is common courtesy, competitive angler etiquette, that you don't run, 40 yards in front of them, 50 yards, 100 yards in front of them, and drop your trolling motor and start fishing in front of them, okay? You don't do that, especially when you know that there's a tournament going on. I don't care if you're in a tournament or not, you don't do that, all right? The proper etiquette move there, the gentle person's agreement, is jumping behind them. If that area is something you want to fish, now obviously if you're talking a half-mile stretch of, shoreline, and you go, a quarter mile down the way and jump in, fair enough. But within an immediate area there, and when you fish a little bit on these tournaments, you know when you're cutting somebody off or when you're jumping in front of them. You know that, and it's advised, don't do that. Okay, just don't be a jerk like that, because you see what they're doing. That's what cutting is. And like I said, this goober did it to 4 of us. We were talking at our awards deal afterwards, and I pointed it out, and then 3 other guys like, oh yeah, same guy that did the same thing to me, cut me off on a point, jumps right in front of me as he sees me moving on it. But so yeah, that those are those those things there. And if that's what this was about, we'd be done by now, and I'd be moving on. No, I'm talking something bigger. This is a group, 13, 14 boats coming in and pulling this stunt. Like I said, not only damages their reputation with the rest of us out there, and some of us that do have maybe some social media reach, it not only damages their reputation with us, but most importantly to all of us, you're damaging our reputation with the CPW, Colorado Parks and Wildlife. We, as stewards and ambassadors of our sport of competitive fishing, I don't care what species it is, have a responsibility to work with those organizations that are in charge of these fisheries. We need to work with them to help promote and provide for our sport so that we're not doing anything to hinder. Matter of fact, we can find ways that we can help them, things that we can do to make their life easier, and any interaction we have with them should be very, very professional and should always involve us doing what we can to follow every one of their rules. And if we're not, we immediately do so. Get it handled immediately and be respectful of these people that are out there making it possible for us to have fisheries. Okay? That's just the bottom line, dude. I mean, that's just called being responsible. So when you go out and you pull a stunt like this, man, that's damaging to the entire state's worth of competitive fishing. Just so you 13, 14 boats could hold your tournament that day. Couldn't be another day. Couldn't apply apparently for another day. Nope. Now, let's talk even more on top of this. We had 14 kayaks out there. Small body of water. Now you throw 14 boats out there on a small body of water. That's 28 competitive anglers running around on this small body of water. I'm thoroughly impressed that it didn't become more dangerous than what it was, because having kayaks which move around between 2 and 5 mile per hour with heavy winds in the same proximity as bass boats, very close proximity as a group of bass boats that are running 55 to 70, 50 to 70 mile an hour across that water. Dude, that is a potential for danger, which is probably, I don't know this for sure, but probably that was at the heart of why the very responsible manager of the CPW, that area of Trinidad Lake, denied them of their permit. First and foremost was the safety, because now throw in there, you got almost 30 of us running around out there. Now you're going to have wreck boaters as well, and paddle boarders and other fishermen that are out there. Dude, that was just a potential, bad stew that you had, brewing up there that could have been easily avoided if this group would have just followed the rules. I mean, that simple. It's that simple. I was going to drop the name of this club out there, but I'm not going to. The more and more I think about it. Because that's not what this is about. I'm not here to bash a club. If any member of them or friend of whatever is watching this, you know who it is. So maybe, professional courtesy I'm extending in that fact that no, we're not going to publicly go out here. Because again, as I stated, the longevity of our sport, the longevity of our clubs, it's what will get our sport and our passion into the future. I'm not here to damage, okay? But this one is being called out. And if you know who it is, speak to somebody in there. Call them out on this. Because that sort of crap, they get away with it once, and who knows? I mean, from now on, why even bother, with permits? Dude, that's piss poor, it's immature, it's ignorant, it's arrogant, it's all things negative for us, and we just can't afford that. We want to keep our sport progressively moving forward, and we do that by first and foremost operating within the rules. If you don't like the rules, then change them. Go the process to get the rules changed. But just because you don't like the rules does not give you the right to simply not follow them. Okay? That's not a justification. Right? And it's not just about you and your small group of friends. It affects everybody in a large group of folks out there. So All right, end rant. We're all done here. Hey, thanks folks for watching. If you like the content, if you agree, disagree, drop some comments for me down there. Smash the like button, smash the don't like button. Above all, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. We could use all the help we can get here on YouTube. This is a great platform that we're looking to grow, and it starts with subscribes and thumbs up and comments out there. Like I said, if you're from this club, you're watching this, if you're part of the guys, you got something you'd like to get off your chest, throw it out here, man. That's what we're here for. We're here to chat. We're here to talk it out there. Like I said, I tried to be as professional as I can about this here. I could have chosen to go a completely different route. We didn't. But if you'd like to chat or whatever, we would be glad and love to hear from you. So, as always, folks, thank you so very much for all the support. We can't thank you enough. This is how we do what we do. And as always, tie lines. Y'all be safe.